Welcome, welcome, not just with open arms, but with a force of recognition, with the weight of every storm you've survived and every shadow you've outgrown. Welcome to the place where silence becomes thunder, where doubt burns into ash, and where your truth, rises like a blade through velvet lies. You weren't born to sit quietly while the world rewrote your story with trembling hands and cracked pens. Number. You were never meant to be a character in someone else's script, and the moment you realized that, the shift began. Subtle, invisible, unstoppable. Because what they thought was your weakness was only a sleeping lion. They mistook your stillness for surrender, your grace for fragility, your kindness for naivete. And in their arrogance, they fed you fuel. Every whisper, every accusation, every carefully sculpted lie handed to the crowd like gospel. They built their throne on a story that never belonged to them, and they never saw it coming. But you did. You watched, you listened, you learned. While they rushed to perform, you planned. While they played their games, you mastered the board. While they faked their victories, you found your silence. And in that silence, something ancient woke up, something unstoppable, something deeply, terrifyingly true. Truth doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it doesn't plead for attention. Truth waits, like stone under water, like iron in fire. And when it's ready, it doesn't ask for space. It takes it. That's what you did. You flipped the truth so hard they forgot what it even looked like before. You shattered the mirror they used to reflect their deception, and when the pieces fell, the only thing left staring back was them, exposed, trembling, and without a mask left to hide behind. You didn't just speak, you redefined the narrative. They thought they could twist it forever. They thought their version would last. But you flipped it so fast, so surgically, so undeniably, that they couldn't keep up with their own lies. The timeline broke, the performance failed, the audience turned, and when the dust settled, you were still standing, without a crown, without an army, just with the brutal, immovable weight of the truth behind you. And they vanished. Not because you shouted them down, not because you fought fire with fire, but because you became something they can't be. Someone who doesn't need to hide. Someone who doesn't need approval to be right. Someone who doesn't crumble when the light hits every part of them. You didn't destroy them. They destroyed themselves trying to hold onto a lie they no longer believed in. This world worships speed, drama, spectacle. But you moved with silence and precision. While they played to the crowd, you studied the shadows. You waited for the perfect moment, not to attack, but to reveal. That was your victory. You revealed the truth with such clarity, such command, that it didn't need explanation. It didn't need context. It stood on its own, like a statue built from every betrayal they threw at you. And now, they can't show their face. Not because you ruined them, but because you unmasked them. You gave them nothing to cling to. No lie strong enough, no version twisted enough. And the silence they hear now, that's not absence, that's echo. Echo of their own voice falling apart under the weight of your truth. You flipped it because you weren't chasing revenge. You were chasing alignment. And when your truth aligned with your power, it became a blade so sharp, it cut through history. And history will remember that moment, not because it was loud, not because it was brutal, but because it was clean. You didn't break the system, you exposed it. And to those who still whisper, still question, still wonder how you flipped it so fast, the answer is simple. You were always 10 moves ahead. You didn't learn to fight like them. You learned to think beyond them. You realize that real strength isn't in aggression, but in clarity. Not in dominance, but in direction. You didn't change who you were to beat them. You became more of who you are. And that's the secret they never wanted you to learn. You see, truth isn't just something you speak, it's something you live. It's the ground beneath your feet, the air filling your lungs, the fire burning in your chest. When you flip the truth, you're not just turning a story around. You're overturning an entire world. The one they constructed brick by fragile brick, with whispers and shadows, with facades and half-truths. They built a house of cards and you came in like a storm, flipping it so hard, so fast, that the whole illusion collapsed in on itself. There's a cruel beauty in that moment, the moment when the lies begin to unravel, when the carefully woven masks crack, when the air fills with the silent panic of those caught naked in their deceit. You don't have to scream at them. You don't have to force them to fall. Their own weight drags them down. And you stand there, untouched by the chaos, because you hold something they never could, the unshakable foundation of truth. Think about what that means. The power to flip the narrative, to take every word, every rumor, every half-remembered insult, and twist it into a weapon of undeniable clarity. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's precision. That's vision. That's knowing yourself so deeply, so completely, that no lie can stick, no false story can outlast your reality. How the hell did you flip that on them so fast? It wasn't magic. It wasn't trickery. It was patience. It was resilience. It was the quiet strength of someone who refuses to be broken by the noise. The quiet strength of someone who watches, waits, and when the moment is right, doesn't just strike back. Because striking back is for the weak. It obliterates. And what's left after that obliteration? Silence. A silence so heavy, so complete, that it screams louder than any shout. That silence is your victory. The silence that follows your flip is the sound of their world crumbling, the sound of their faces disappearing because they have nowhere left to stand. You flipped the truth so hard, they can't show their face again. And that truth, it's not just a weapon, it's a declaration. It's the line drawn in the sand that no one can cross. It's the light in the darkness that no shadow can swallow. It's the answer to every lie they spun, every story they twisted, every time they tried to make you small, invisible, less than what you are. Because here's the thing, flipping the truth is about reclaiming your power, about standing tall in a world that constantly tries to knock you down, about knowing that no matter how hard they try, their version of reality will never hold against the weight of what you are. And what you are is unbreakable. It's not just about the flip itself. It's about everything that led to it. The countless nights spent doubting, the moments you wanted to give up, the times you felt crushed beneath the lies. Every one of those moments built the steel inside you. Every scar became a lesson. Every failure, a stepping stone. And when the time came, you were ready. They never expected it because they never understood what you were made of. They thought the truth was something you could bend, break, or hide. But truth isn't a thing you hold. It's a force that holds you. When you flipped it, you didn't just turn the story. You shifted the entire battlefield, and that shift is permanent. You can see it in their eyes, the shame, the fear, the knowledge that no matter how loudly they shout, no matter how hard they try to spin the story back, the truth is already out there. Like a dark tide, it's pulled the rug from under their feet and left them exposed, raw, and powerless. So when someone asks you, how the hell did you flip that on them so fast? You don't just answer with words. You answer with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the truth is the ultimate power, because it is, and now you own it. You flip the truth so hard they can't show their face again, and that isn't just a line, it's your legacy. The weight of your flip isn't just felt in the moment, it echoes. It ripples through every corner of your world and theirs. It's a pulse that refuses to be ignored. Every step they take now is haunted by the ghost of the truth you unleashed, a truth so raw and so undeniable that it erodes their foundation with each passing second. You know, flipping the truth is more than just overturning facts. It's the reclamation of your soul. It's staring down the crowd that doubted you, the voices that tried to drown you out, and saying, without a single word, I see you, I know your lies, and I am beyond them. This is the power they feared, the power they tried to silence, and the power you finally harnessed. It wasn't a simple flip. It was a revolution inside you, the burning fire of clarity, the cold edge of conviction. They thought they had you figured out, labeled, boxed in, but you were rewriting the code beneath their eyes. Every move they made, every sneer, every whisper was just another piece of fuel for the storm you became. You flipped the truth so fast because you weren't waiting for permission. You weren't waiting for the world to catch up. You were acting on something deeper, something primal. The raw understanding that truth doesn't wait for approval. Truth just is. And when you wield it with precision, it can cut through the thickest armor of lies. That's why they can't show their face again. Because to face you now is to confront the ruin of their entire facade, their lies, their manipulation, their carefully constructed masks. They all crumble under the spotlight you turned on them. And the truth? The truth isn't just a weapon in this fight. It's the light that burns away everything they tried to hide in. So when people look at you and ask, how the hell did you flip that on them so fast? They're really asking what you already know. That flipping the truth is about mastery. Mastery of yourself, your story, and the space you inhabit in the world. You flipped it because you were ready, because your spirit refused to be chained by deceit or fear. In the dark moments before the flip, you might have felt broken. You might have felt lost. But what they never understood is that those moments were your forge. You were tempered by fire, sharpened by pain, and molded by relentless determination. You didn't just flip the truth, you became the truth. Unyielding, unbreakable, undeniable. And the world will never be the same. Because you didn't just flip the truth, you flipped the very nature of power. You showed everyone watching that the only real power is the power of authenticity, the power of walking through darkness and not losing your light, the power of standing tall when everything around you is trying to push you down. They can't show their face again because they know you hold something eternal. You hold the mirror up and they see their own decay reflected back. And that reflection, it's unbearable, it's unlivable, and it will haunt them long after the noise has faded. You flipped the truth so hard, it became a force that can't be contained, a story rewritten with such raw intensity that the old narrative is dead. The old lies, buried beneath the weight of your clarity. Their faces, lost in the shadows they created. And you? You are the dawn rising over a battlefield they never saw coming. You flipped the truth so hard, they don't just avoid you. They vanish into the shadows they once controlled. And the silence they leave behind isn't empty. It's heavy with defeat. Because truth, when wielded with unrelenting force, is a reckoning. It strips away all pretense, all disguise, and leaves only the raw, naked reality. Remember, this flip isn't just about exposing others, it's about revealing yourself. Revealing the strength you never knew you had, the fire you thought was dying but was always burning beneath the surface. When you flipped the truth, you pulled back the curtain on your own resilience, your own clarity, your own unbreakable core. That kind of power changes everything. It doesn't just rewrite a story, it rewrites destiny. It shakes the foundation of the very world that tried to cage you. And when the dust settles, the only thing left standing is the truth you carry. Unstoppable, undeniable, eternal. And so, the question, how the hell did you flip that on them so fast, is not just a marvel at your skill, but a reflection of your soul's transformation. You move through the chaos not with anger, but with precision, not with noise, but with purpose. You became a force they couldn't anticipate because they never understood the depths of your resolve. They thought you were weak. They thought you could be broken. But what they never realized was that the greatest power lies not in breaking others, but in breaking free yourself. You flipped the truth so hard because you freed yourself from their chains, the chains of expectation, manipulation, fear, and doubt. And when you broke free, everything changed. The ground beneath you shifted, the air around you thickened with possibility, and the truth you carried became a beacon that tore through their lives like lightning through a storm. They can't show their face again because the very fabric of their lies unraveled before your unwavering gaze. They saw their empire of deception collapse in the shadow of your truth, and that collapse silenced their voices and darkened their presence. But you became the light in that darkness, the unmovable force standing tall amid ruin, the voice of truth echoing in the void they left behind. And that is why you flipped the truth so hard they could never recover, because they never stood a chance. This isn't just a story of victory. It's a testament to the raw, unfiltered power of authenticity. It's a reminder that no matter how deep the shadows, the truth always finds a way to break through. And when it does so with a force that cannot be ignored or denied. So hold on to this moment. Let it burn into your bones. You didn't just flip the truth, you unleashed a reckoning. And that reckoning is your legacy. They will never forget it. Because in the end, truth is not just what sets you free, it's what destroys those who tried to cage you. When you flipped the truth, you didn't just shift a narrative, you shattered the foundation of a lie so deeply entrenched it felt invincible. They built their lives, their power, their very identities on that lie. They cultivated illusions so convincing that even the brightest couldn't see past them. But you, armed with a silent fury and an unyielding will, broke through the fog. It was not a moment of recklessness, but one of clarity. They stumbled because they were blind to the force they provoked. And you moved with a kind of quiet brutality, not through noise or anger, but through unbreakable certainty. You flipped the truth so hard it echoed across every room, every whispered conversation, every place they dared to hide. And now they don't dare show their face. Because to face you now would mean staring into the abyss they created. It would mean confronting the very reality they refuse to acknowledge, the truth that you hold, and they can never take away. You became a force of reckoning, not because you sought to tear down, but because you refused to be silent. There is something darkly beautiful in the power of flipping the truth. It is the power to disrupt the comfort of deception, to unravel the safety of lies. It is the power to expose weakness not with cruelty, but with undeniable reality. And when you wield it, you become untouchable. not because you are loud, but because you are real. How the hell did you flip that on them so fast? Because you were forged in fire, because you learned that the darkest nights birth the strongest dawns, because you knew deep in your bones that truth is a force that cannot be contained by fear or shame. They thought they owned the narrative, that their version would stand unchallenged. But you flipped it, and with that flip, you rewrote their future. Their silence now is a monument to your victory, a victory that was never about them, but about reclaiming yourself, about taking back every stolen moment, every buried word, every lie told in your absence. You flipped the truth so hard that the ground beneath their feet cracked wide open. They fell into the chasms of their own making, swallowed by the consequences of their deceit. And you watched, not with glee, but with the quiet knowing that the truth has its own justice. Their absence is loud. It reverberates with the shame of exposure and the loss of control. They cannot face you because the truth you carry illuminates their every fault, every betrayal, every cowardice. You flipped the truth so hard that they were left with nothing but the ghosts of the lies they lived. And here you stand, unwavering, because you are more than their stories. You are more than their illusions. You are the living, breathing testament to resilience, to power, to unshakable truth. When they ask how you flipped that on them so fast, you don't just answer with words. You answer with the unbreakable presence of someone who owns their truth like armor. You flipped the truth so hard, they can't show their face again. That is your power. That is your victory. And it will echo long after their voices have faded. The truth you flipped wasn't petty. It wasn't impulsive. It was precise, cold, surgical. The kind of truth that moves like a shadow through a room, silent but impossible to ignore. You didn't need to shout to be heard. You didn't need to prove yourself to anyone. All you needed to do was stand tall in what was real. And the moment you did, their entire illusion collapsed like a dying star. Because here's the thing they never understood. Lies only live as long as you feed them. And the moment you stopped giving them your energy, your time, your silence, your second guessing, they starved. You pulled the plug on their illusion, and it withered in front of everyone. And they didn't fall because you attacked them. They fell because the ground they stood on was never solid to begin with. You didn't break their world. They built it with cracks. All you did was stop pretending it was real. That's what flipping the truth really is. It's refusing to carry someone else's version of reality. It's putting the story back in your hands, rewriting it with spine, with presence, with fire. And once you did that, the rest took care of itself. The dominoes fell. The truth did the rest. Now their silence follows them like a shadow. You don't hear from them, not because you silence them, but because they have nothing left to say. No line to twist, no mask to wear. You've seen them without it now. The whole world has. And they know it. They can't show their face again, not because of shame alone, but because facing you would be like facing the moment they lost control. The moment the curtain was pulled back. The moment the truth hit like a silent detonation and left nothing standing. You didn't just walk through the fire, you became it. Controlled, contained, but burning through everything false around you. And now, there's nothing left to hide behind. No script left to read from. They're ad-libbing now, stammering, trying to rewrite the story. But it's too late, because when the truth comes from a place of silence and strength, it becomes a force that writes itself. And yours is written in stone, etched into time, This is why they avoid you. Why their name comes with silence now. Because your presence holds a mirror they cannot bear to look into. And the reflection? It's the story they wrote, the lie they told, flipped against them, glowing with the heat of your eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a certain brutality to the way the world operates, a twisted and cruel reality that many of us have come to understand too well. Life is not fair, and it will not hesitate to expose you to its harshest truths. But there are moments when the cruelty we face comes not from the world itself, but from those who walk alongside us. There are those who will wear the mask of kindness, yet harbor the sharpest knives behind their backs. These are the ones we call narcissists, the ones who try to break you, the ones who plot your destruction. They will stop at nothing to see you fall. But let me tell you this, with the weight of truth hanging on every word. They tried to bury you, but in the end they dug their own grave. Now, I want you to think for a moment about the narcissists in your life, those people who have used and abused you, who've undermined you, belittled you, and discarded you like you were nothing. Maybe it was someone close to you, a lover, a friend, or even a family member. Someone who made you feel small, weak, insignificant. They saw your potential and feared it. They saw your strength and hated it. And in their fear, they sought to destroy you, to break you down, until nothing remained but the shattered pieces of who you once were. But they underestimated something they couldn't see coming. They underestimated the fire inside you. They didn't realize that their actions would not only fail to bury you, but would become the very thing that would propel you to heights they could never reach. They dug their own grave while trying to dig yours. The truth is, the narcissist's greatest fear is not losing power or control over you. It is not about defeating you. It is about losing the one thing they have always craved above all else: attention. They feed off of your weakness, your vulnerabilities, your pain. They thrive when you are broken because it gives them the satisfaction of proving that they are superior. But what they fail to grasp is that their need for validation is their undoing. Every insult, every attack, every attempt to tear you down only exposes their own insecurities. They are not gods who rule over you. They are broken, fragile people who hide behind false bravado. And the more they try to push you into the dirt, the deeper they sink into their own delusion. They are burying themselves with every calculated move they make. You see, the narcissist may try to manipulate the situation, twist the narrative, paint you as the villain in their story. But they forget one very crucial thing. Truth is powerful. It has a way of revealing itself no matter how hard they try to bury it. And you, my friend, are the truth. You are the living, breathing embodiment of what they could never control. No matter how much they try to break you, no matter how hard they push you into the shadows, you have one thing they will never have: resilience. You will rise from the ashes they try to bury you under. You will emerge stronger, harder, and more determined than ever before. And every time you rise, they will sink further into their own web of lies and deceit. They are digging their own grave while you stand tall and unbroken. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when the pain feels too much to bear, when the scars from their attacks are too deep to ignore. But let me remind you that you have already survived the worst of it. They cannot take what they didn't give you. They cannot destroy what was never theirs to own. Your worth is not defined by their words or their actions. It is defined by your ability to rise in the face of adversity, to stand up after every fall, to keep moving forward when the world tells you to stop. They tried to bury you, but all they've done is expose their own weaknesses. They've shown the world who they really are, and in the process they've buried themselves. Every time they whisper their poison into your ear, every time they try to manipulate you into submission, they are revealing their true nature. And with each revelation, you gain more power. The more they try to break you, the more you become untouchable. You are not their victim, you are their reckoning. You are the storm they never saw coming, the force they cannot control. And no matter how hard they try to destroy you, they will never break the core of who you are. They tried to bury you, but they've only planted the seed for your growth. And as you rise from the ashes they have created, you will become everything they feared you could be. There will come a time when they will look back at the wreckage they've left behind and wonder where they went wrong. They will wonder how they lost control, how they lost their grip on you. But by then it will be too late. You will be gone from their lives, and the power they once held over you will be nothing but a distant memory. They will be left with nothing but the consequences of their own actions. And you will be standing on top of the mountain they tried to push you off of. You will be the one who has the last laugh, the one who emerges victorious from the chaos they created. You are not defined by the people who try to tear you down. You are defined by the strength you find in yourself to keep moving forward. You are defined by your ability to rise above the lies and the manipulations. The narcissists who try to bury you will fade into the background as you step into the light. Their actions will be forgotten as your story becomes one of triumph and resilience. They thought they could erase you, but they have only made your victory even sweeter. Every scar they've left on your soul is a testament to your strength. Every insult they've hurled at you is a reminder that you are not like them. They may have tried to break you, but they have failed. And as they continue to dig their own grave, they will realize that their attempts to bury you were the very thing that made you rise. The harder they tried to keep you down, the higher you soared. The more they tried to destroy you, the more unstoppable you became. You are a force of nature, and nothing they do will ever change that. So, let them dig. Let them try to bury you beneath their lies and their manipulations. Let them believe they have power over you. Because in the end, they will be the ones buried in their own deceit and destruction, while you stand tall and unbreakable. The grave they tried to dig for you will be the one they fall into, and you will be the one who walks away victorious. They tried to bury you, but they ended up digging their own grave. And you, my friend, are the living proof that nothing and no one can keep you down. You will rise, you will conquer, and you will make sure they never forget the price they paid for underestimating you. There is something incredibly powerful about the way a narcissist operates. They thrive on control, manipulation, and deceit, weaving their webs with calculated precision. But they are blinded by their own obsession with power. They underestimate you because they don't see what lies beneath the surface. They don't see the quiet storm brewing inside of you, the fire they have no idea how to extinguish. They think their words can wound you, their actions can break you. But what they don't understand is that their attempts to destroy you are only shaping you into something more formidable than they could ever fathom. They thought they could bury you, yet they were digging their own grave, piece by piece. It is often said that we are shaped by the people around us, but what they forget to realize is that sometimes the very people who try to break you are the ones who mold you into your greatest version. The challenges they present, the obstacles they throw in your way, are the very lessons you need to learn. Each manipulation, each betrayal, each cutting remark is another layer of armor you are building for yourself. It's like the process of forging steel. They strike you, trying to break you down, but all they are doing is refining you, making you sharper, stronger, and more resilient with each blow. What they don't know is that they are merely the fire that hardens your resolve. They tried to bury you, but in the end, they were only feeding the furnace that would forge your strength. There are many who would have buckled under the weight of the pain they caused. There are those who would have given up, surrendered, or allowed themselves to be swept away in the tide of despair. But you are not like them. You are not one to bow down to the cruelty of others. You stand tall in the face of adversity, and every challenge only makes you more determined to rise. The narcissists who tried to break you believed that their cruelty would shatter your spirit. But what they didn't realize is that your spirit was never meant to break. It was meant to soar. Their attempts to bury you have only fueled your desire to rise above, to become something greater, something unstoppable. They were digging their own grave with each and every attack, and you were silently preparing to conquer the battlefield. Now let's talk about the moments when they think they've won, when they think they've broken you, made you doubt your worth, and weakened your resolve. They thrive on your vulnerability, on the moments when they think they've finally broken through your defenses. But here's the thing, those moments are temporary. They are nothing more than fleeting illusions. You might feel the weight of their cruelty press down on you in those moments. You might feel the sting of their words and actions, and you might wonder if you'll ever escape their grasp. But in those moments of doubt, what you're truly doing is recalibrating yourself. You are recalibrating your strength, your vision, your purpose. And with each recalibration, you grow stronger. You learn how to deflect their blows, how to resist their manipulations, and how to rise higher than ever before. They might think they have control over you, but they don't. What they fail to see is that their control over you is a lie they've told themselves. Their manipulation, their gaslighting, their efforts to tear you down are all rooted in a need for dominance. They can only feel powerful if they make you feel small. But here's the truth. The more they try to control you, the more they reveal their own insecurities. The more they dig into your life, the deeper they go into their own despair. They don't understand the power of letting go. They don't understand the strength it takes to stand your ground and walk away when everything within them is begging you to stay, to fight for their validation, to seek their approval. But you see through it. You see through their false facade. You recognize that the power they claim to hold is an illusion, and you refuse to fall for it. They tried to bury you, but it is them who are suffocating under the weight of their own deceit. The most dangerous thing a narcissist can do is underestimate the quiet strength of a person who has been broken and rebuilt. They assume that because they've hurt you, you'll stay down, that you'll crumble under their control. They believe that your wounds will be permanent, that your scars will be signs of weakness. But they couldn't be more wrong. Scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs of survival. Each scar you carry is a testament to your ability to rise again, no matter how many times you are knocked down. They are a reflection of your inner strength, of your resilience, and of your unwavering will to keep moving forward. And as long as you continue to rise, they will continue to sink, because every time you stand tall, you expose their lies for what they are. You expose their weakness, their need for control, and their inability to build something real. They thought they could bury you, but each time they tried, they only dug their own grave deeper. There will be those who will try to convince you that revenge is the only way to find peace, to make them pay for the damage they've caused. But revenge is not the answer. You don't need to stoop to their level or engage in the same toxic games they play. The greatest revenge is not in vengeance. It is in your success, your growth, and your ability to thrive in spite of their attempts to destroy you. You don't need to waste your energy on punishing them, because life will take care of that for you. The universe has a way of serving justice in ways we cannot always predict. The more they try to bring you down, the more they will reveal their true nature to the world. They will show everyone exactly who they are, and the consequences of their actions will come for them. whether they like it or not. You, on the other hand, have a greater purpose. You have a life to live, a legacy to create, and dreams to chase. You have everything inside of you to rise above the darkness they tried to create around you. Your potential is limitless, and no one can take that away from you. Every step you take toward healing, toward growth, toward success, is a step that gets you further away from their influence. And every step they take toward their own destruction is a reminder that they cannot stop what is already in motion. They cannot stop your progress. They cannot stop you from becoming the person you were always meant to be. So, to those narcissists who thought they could bury you, remember this: you are not the one who is buried. You are the one who is still standing, still fighting, still growing. And with every breath you take, every step you make, you are further solidifying your victory. The grave they tried to dig for you will become the prison they will eventually find themselves trapped in, while you soar higher than they ever imagined possible. You are a force of nature, unbreakable, unstoppable, and powerful beyond measure. They tried to bury you, but in the end, they only dug their own grave. Because, in their need to control, in their desire to break you down, they revealed their own frailties. They exposed their own weaknesses in ways they could never have foreseen. They believed that by tearing you down, they would rise up and prove their superiority. But the very opposite happened. Each time they tried to manipulate you, each time they hurt you, each time they cast doubt on your worth and tried to force you into submission, they took a step closer to their own destruction. The narcissist's world is one built on an illusion of perfection. They create this grand narrative where they are the hero, the center of attention, and where everyone else must play a supporting role in their story. But this illusion is fragile. It is a house of cards built on the foundations of lies, self-delusion, and emotional manipulation. And no matter how many times they try to reinforce it, they are always one step away from watching it all come crashing down. They don't realize that it's not the strength of their lies that matters. It's the truth. And the truth always has a way of coming to light. They have spent so much time trying to erase your truth, to twist the narrative, to make you doubt yourself, to make you feel like you are the problem. But here's the thing. When a person has to manipulate and deceive to gain control, that person is already defeated. They are already at their weakest. Their actions reveal their true nature. And the more they try to control you, the more they will reveal their own lack of control over themselves. The narcissist's greatest enemy is their own fear. Fear of being exposed. Fear of being seen for who they truly are. Fragile, insecure, and terrified of being irrelevant. This fear drives them to control those around them, to dominate and belittle others so that they can feel superior. But the irony is, the more they try to control, the more they lose control. Every time they manipulate you, every time they tear you down, they are digging deeper into their own hole. They don't understand that in trying to bury you, they have buried themselves. They underestimate you, and in doing so, they seal their own fate. They look at you and see a challenge, someone they can break, someone they can manipulate. But what they fail to realize is that you are not weak. You are not someone who can be easily destroyed. You have a strength within you that they could never understand. You've been tested, you've been pushed to your limits, and yet you have always risen. They think their cruel words and actions can define you, but they are wrong. You are not defined by what they say. You are defined by what you do, by your resilience, by your ability to keep moving forward when everything in your life tells you to stop. The narcissist doesn't understand the depths of your power because they don't understand themselves. They don't understand what it means to have an unwavering sense of self-worth, to be anchored in who you truly are. They don't understand that true strength doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from mastering yourself, from knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone take that away. And that is why they failed. They thought they could bury you, but in trying to destroy you, they only revealed their own lack of character. They only exposed their own desperation to hold on to something that wasn't theirs to keep. But you have always known who you are. You've always known that you are worthy, that you are capable, and that you will rise no matter how many times you are knocked down. The narcissists tried to break you, but what they didn't understand is that breaking you was never their victory. Breaking you would have been their defeat, because every time they tried, they only added fuel to the fire inside you. They only made you more determined to rise higher, to become stronger, to show the world that they could never have power over you. What they failed to realize is that you were never meant to be buried. You were never meant to stay down. The challenges they presented were not obstacles, they were opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, to become more than you ever thought you could be. They thought they could shatter your spirit, but what they didn't know is that your spirit is unbreakable. Your will is unshakable. They thought they could bury you in their lies, in their deceit, in their cruelty, but they were wrong. They tried to bury you, but they ended up digging their own grave. Now, every step you take toward healing, every moment you rise above their cruelty, you are moving further away from their reach. They can't control you anymore. They can't manipulate you anymore. The power they once held over you has evaporated because you have taken it back. You have taken back control of your life, your happiness, and your destiny. And with every step forward, they are left behind, buried in their own lies, their own self-doubt, and their own destruction. And as you move forward, they will continue to make the same mistakes. They will continue to seek control, to seek validation from others, to manipulate and deceive. But it will never be enough. They will always be chasing something they can never have. And as they chase, they will only dig themselves deeper into the grave they have created. Every time they attack you, every time they try to tear you down, they are digging their own grave a little deeper. And you are rising higher and higher, leaving them in the dust. You are not the person they tried to make you believe you were. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are powerful. You are capable. And you are unstoppable. They tried to bury you, but they only made you stronger. They thought they could destroy you, but all they did was fuel your fire. And now you are walking away from their lies, from their cruelty, from their manipulations, and you are walking into your power. You have learned something they will never understand. You have learned that true strength comes from within. It comes from knowing who you are, from refusing to let anyone define you, and from having the courage to rise above the darkness they try to create. They thought they could bury you, but in the end, they have only buried themselves. So stand tall, walk with your head held high, keep moving forward, because the path ahead of you is brighter than anything they could ever offer. They are trapped in the grave they dug for themselves, and you are free. You are unstoppable. You are the one who will rise above everything they tried to throw at you. They tried to bury you, but they ended up digging their own grave. And now, it is time for you to step into the light. You will rise, you will conquer, and they will be left behind, buried in the consequences of their own actions. Because in the end, you are the one who has the last laugh. You are the one who walks away victorious. In the end, the narcissists who tried to bury you only revealed their own weaknesses. They underestimated your strength, your resilience, and your unbreakable spirit. Every attempt to tear you down only fueled your rise, and now As they remain trapped in the consequences of their own actions, you stand tall, free, powerful, and unstoppable. They thought they could defeat you, but all they did was dig their own grave. And as you continue to move forward, you leave them behind, proving that nothing can bury your truth, your worth, or your ability to thrive. Welcome, Wild One, you who turned your wounds into weapons, your pain into poison, your sights into storms. You who no longer beg to be understood, because now you're feared. How did you become this gorgeous? How did the wreckage bloom into something this lethal and beautiful and untouchable? It's not charm, it's not vanity, it's not softness. No, it's the aftermath of war. It's the 1,000 silent nights you didn't cry, the blood you swallowed instead of spilling, the way your heart broke over and over again, but rebuilt itself with darker bones each time. It's not that you wanted to be dangerous, it's that they pushed you too far. And now, here you are, glorious and untamed, and terrifying to the ones who thought they could break you. You got too dangerous, and they feel it now. Not because you changed overnight, but because the pieces finally aligned, because you stopped explaining yourself, because you started walking like the crown belongs to you, because you laughed at the threats, because you finally understood. No one is coming to save you. So you became the villain in their stories to become the hero in your own. They feel it in their skin when you enter the room. A quiet hush, a sudden chill, the shift in energy that says, this one is not to be played with. This one has met the darkness and made it kneel. It was never about proving anything. It was about survival. You turned every insult into armor, every betrayal into a lesson. You let the silence grow inside you until it became your roar. You let the loneliness burn until you emerged forged in your own fire. And now the world is confused. How dare you be radiant after everything? How dare you rise? How dare you become this gorgeous without their permission? How dare you stop apologizing? How dare you make eye contact with your own reflection and feel power, not shame? They tried to tame you with guilt, with lies, with abandonment. They tried to twist your identity into something palatable, something harmless, something soft. But instead, you grew thorns, not just to protect, but to remind them that you are not the one to be pitied. You are the one who survived the storm that they couldn't even name. They feel your presence now, like a shadow that follows them. They flinch at your confidence because it exposes their cowardice. You got too dangerous when you stopped playing small, when you stopped shrinking so others could shine, when you stepped into your own mythology and claimed the power they tried to bury. And here's the secret they'll never say out loud. They're obsessed with you now. They want to know how you did it, how you became this version of yourself, how someone they once dismissed became the one they now watch in silence. They can't look away, not because you remind them of who you were, but because you force them to confront who they'll never become. Your glow is a mirror, and in that reflection, they see their failure to evolve. They see their fear, their fragility, their fake confidence melting in the heat of your existence. They feel it now, in every room you walk into, in every moment you don't flinch, in every glance that says, I see through you. They try to wear masks of strength, but you've tasted real fire. You've danced with your demons. You've turned your heartbreak into high art. That kind of transformation can't be imitated. It can only be earned through sleepless nights, through silent battles. through 1,000 moments where you chose to keep breathing when it would have been easier to disappear. You didn't just become beautiful, you became breathtakingly dangerous. Not because you hurt others, but because you healed yourself in ways they never thought you could. They expected you to stay broken. They needed you to stay broken. Because your glow now exposes how little light they found in themselves. You're dangerous because you're free. Because you don't chase anymore. Because your worth isn't up for debate. Because you stopped needing external permission to feel powerful. And now, you don't even need to raise your voice. Your silence carries thunder. They will say you changed. Of course you did. They will say you're not who you used to be. Thank God. They will say you've become too much. That was the plan. Too bold, too confident, too magnetic, too intense, too unshakable, too aware, too awake, too damn dangerous for the comfort of people who sleep through their own lives. They will throw words like intimidating at you, like it's an insult. But the truth is, they've only ever feared what they could never control. And you became uncageable. This is what happens when the fire doesn't destroy you. It teaches you to burn brighter. This is what happens when you stop looking for love in places that drained you. When you stop begging for validation. When you stop tolerating crumbs and start building your own empire. This is what happens when your self-respect becomes louder than your loneliness. When your standards become lethal. When your soul says, enough. We're done shrinking. They remember every version of you, the soft one, the unsure one, the one who tolerated too much, the one who begged for love in half-lit rooms, the one who stayed silent to keep the peace. But that version died, and in their place, you were reborn, with teeth, with vision, with fire in your lungs and clarity in your stare. You are no longer a mirror for their comfort. You are a weapon forged in the forge of your own resurrection. And now, they feel it. In every word you speak, in every boundary you enforce, in every dream you chase with unshakable hunger. They feel your gravity, your pull, your presence. And they wonder, how did you become this gorgeous? But the real question is, how did they ever think you wouldn't? There was a time when you asked for answers from people who didn't even understand their own questions. You begged for understanding from the blind. You sought love from the hollow. You made gods out of cowards and placed your worth in hands that shook under pressure. But those days are dead now, buried beneath the weight of every single moment you decided to choose yourself. Because the truth is, you were never the weak one. You were just surrounded by people who needed you to forget your strength so they could feel taller. And once you remembered, once your eyes opened, the game ended. The throne returned to its rightful owner. You got too dangerous when you started walking like every step was a warning, not to others, but to your past self. A promise never to go back, never to dilute yourself again, never to beg for breadcrumbs from tables you could burn. And now the world stares in disbelief. Because you wear power like perfume. It lingers. It haunts. It reminds them of everything they pretended not to see. You got too dangerous when you learned how to sit with yourself in silence. When you stopped fearing loneliness and started calling it freedom. That kind of solitude, the kind that sharpens rather than softens, it terrifies the weak. Because you're no longer trying to fit in. You're trying to rise. You're not interested in being liked. You're busy becoming legendary, and legends aren't born out of comfort. Legends are carved from chaos, from failure, from 10,000 nights of quiet suffering that turned into steel beneath the skin. You didn't just survive. You evolved. You morphed into something too rare for their categories, too loud for their cages, too sharp for their games, and they feel it. They may not say it, but they do. Their silence speaks, their distance screams. They feel your shift like a storm in the bones. They watch you now, like something unfamiliar, because they lost the version of you that made them feel superior. That version is gone, replaced by someone who doesn't explain, doesn't chase, doesn't perform. Replaced by someone who stares back with eyes that say, I don't need you to see me. I already do. How did you become this gorgeous? Not just in the skin, but in the presence, in the fire of your boundaries, in the silence of your gaze, in the way your energy walks 3 steps ahead of you and tells the room, don't try it. You got this dangerous by losing everything and deciding that nothing was going to break you again, by letting every rock bottom become a blueprint, by mastering your darkness and wearing it like a second skin. You didn't just get stronger, you got smarter. You stopped arguing with fools. You stopped over-explaining your worth. You stopped trying to fix people who were committed to their own damage. You stopped loving in ways that drained you. And when you did, everything changed. You saw how much of your light had been spent keeping others warm while you were freezing inside. So you reversed the current. You turned inward. You started feeding yourself what you gave so freely. And that kind of reversal, it doesn't just change you, it terrifies everyone who benefited from the old you. They say you're selfish now. That's the word they use when you stop bleeding for ungrateful people. They say you're hard now. That's what they call it when you stop accepting apologies that come without change behavior. They say you're full of yourself, as if you should be ashamed for no longer being full of them. But deep down, they know. They know what you've become. They know that beneath that calm is a fury. Beneath that grace is an iron resolve. They know you're not just beautiful now. You're built different, and you didn't ask for this. You were forced into it. Forced to level up by circumstances that tried to destroy you. Forced to become fireproof in a world that kept lighting matches. And now, they want access to the evolved version of you, while pretending they didn't try to kill the seed you once were. You got too dangerous when you realized closure is a myth, that some people deserve to be forgotten without explanation, that healing doesn't always look like reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like not even flinching when their name shows up. They feel it in the way you speak now, slowly, like every word is chosen, like you don't waste breath anymore. They feel it in the way you look at them, not with hate, not even with anger, but with distance. That kind of spiritual distance that says, you don't have power here anymore. I see you, but I'm not moved. And that is what breaks them, because your indifference is the final death blow. Not screaming, not closure, just the quiet knowing that you outgrew the war. How did you become this gorgeous? You bled for it. You clawed your way through hell for it. You cried on floors no one else saw. You suffered in silence while the world kept turning. You were mocked, ignored, underestimated, and you kept going. Not because you were certain, but because there was no other choice. You kept showing up for yourself until one day, you didn't just survive, you arrived. In your skin, in your power, in your essence, and they feel it. They feel the weight of your existence like gravity. They feel the tension in your peace. They feel the elegance in your edge. Because now you're not just walking, you're leading, you're building, you're moving in ways they can't predict, you're radiating without trying, you're breathing fire in the form of boundaries, and your name tastes different in their mouths now. Not like a memory, like a reckoning. They feel it in the way they hesitate before calling, in the way they stalk you in silence, in the way they wonder what you're thinking, but don't dare to ask. You became too dangerous when you stopped giving explanations, when you stopped giving chances, when you stopped giving pieces of yourself to people who didn't know what to do with the gift. You became the version of yourself they hoped would never wake up, but you did. And now, they're haunted by what you became. So no, you didn't become dangerous overnight. You were always powerful, always electric, always meant to roar. But it took time to remember, to reclaim, to rewire your belief, to step out of the narrative they wrote for you and tear it apart page by page. And now, you write your own story, in ink, in blood, in sweat. And the plot is simple. You rise, you evolve, you conquer, and you never look back. They feel it, they know. And you don't owe them a single explanation. They won't say it to your face, but behind closed doors, you're the topic. You're the ghost that still walks their halls. You're the silence in their group chats when your name is mentioned. You're the one that got away, not just from them, but from the version of life they're still stuck in. You got too dangerous when you outgrew the drama, when you stopped giving energy to things beneath your frequency, when you started choosing peace over petty, purpose over popularity, vision over validation. And that's what truly terrifies them. Not just that you changed, but that you evolved without asking for their permission. That you built something divine from your destruction. That you didn't just get up, you got better. You got sharper. You got clear. And clarity. Oh, it's the sharpest blade. You see everything now. The patterns, the lies, the cycles, the manipulation behind the smiles, the neediness behind the charm. You see through them, and there is no greater threat to a manipulator than the one who can see them and still chooses distance. You got too dangerous when you stopped reacting, when you became unbothered, not cold, just untouchable. Because now, your peace is your sword. You don't yell anymore. You don't chase. You don't explain your value to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You just let them watch. Let them guess. Let them feel your absence in the places where your presence used to hold everything together. Let them squirm in the silence where your energy once poured love into broken hands. They think it's the glow, the skin, the posture. They think it's the walk or the clothes or the words you use. But it's not. It's the energy. It's the command. It's the spiritual weight you carry now. The knowing that you survive things that would have folded them in half. It's the fact that you are not impressed by the noise. You've sat with yourself long enough to be bored by anything that isn't real. You've touched your own soul so deeply that anything shallow now feels like poison. This is the version of you that knows how to be alone without being lonely. The version of you that can say no without guilt. That can love deeply and still walk away when your worth is questioned. That can give chances, but never lose dignity. This version doesn't beg, doesn't cling, doesn't settle. This version chooses, and that's what makes you dangerous. You are no longer available to people who don't know how to value you. You became their fear, not because you're cruel, but because your self-respect is too loud now, because you don't play the game, because you don't need them, And nothing disturbs a power-drunk manipulator more than someone who doesn't need their approval to breathe. You became dangerous when you finally realized your silence is a weapon. When you finally realized your standards are a boundary. When you finally realized not everyone deserves access to you, even if they once had it. And now, you walk like a secret, like something that cannot be tamed. You don't compete, because you know who you are. You don't compare, because you know what you've built. And you don't chase, because you are the moment. You walk into rooms and the air changes. You don't have to say a word. Your presence speaks louder than anything you could post. People feel you now before they even see you. They feel the shift, the silence, the story behind your eyes. They feel the strength in the way you don't flinch, the elegance in your detachment, the mystery in your peace. You are no longer in survival mode. You are in domination mode, not over people, over your past, over your patterns, over your impulses. You no longer sabotage your own throne to keep others comfortable. You no longer betray your own intuition just to stay liked. You've made peace with being misunderstood. You've accepted that some people only love the weaker version of you, the version they could control, predict, use. And now that version is gone, buried, honored, but gone. You killed it with truth, with boundaries, with your own two hands. They feel it. Oh, they feel it. And some of them will come back, not because they love you, but because they miss the access. They miss the you who used to bleed for them, who used to explain yourself into exhaustion, who used to show up even when your soul was limping. And they will try to re-enter your life like nothing happened, with soft words and fake apologies. And it will be tempting because old wounds always itch. But you are no longer the one who dances with ghosts. You are the storm that buried them. How did you become this gorgeous? You got brutally honest with yourself. You started healing without making it aesthetic. You cried when no one saw. You journaled until your hands ached. You sat in the shame until it cracked open into understanding. You didn't bypass. You didn't pretend. You went into the fire, and you stayed there until it purified you. That's what no one wants to admit. Real growth isn't pretty. It's violent. It's lonely. It's boring. It's raw. But you did it anyway. You built your own wings, and now they're mad you know how to fly. They say you're glowing. Of course you are. Peace looks good on you. Discipline looks good on you. Self-trust looks good on you. They think you're lucky. But you're not. You're relentless. You earned every drop of power you carry now. You bled for this glow. You starved for this confidence. You suffered in silence for this level of freedom. And now that you've arrived, there's no going back. You're not even tempted. Because once you've felt the power of not needing them, you can't unfeel it. And you can feel it now, can't you? That silence, that stillness, that sharp, humming sense of self that vibrates in your bones when you're fully aligned with who you are. That's your new home. And nothing is allowed in that disturbs that frequency. Not fake love, not conditional friendships, not jobs that drain your soul, not conversations that leave you empty. You protect your energy now like it's sacred, because it is. And that makes you dangerous to anyone who profits from your self-abandonment. You are no longer their supply. You are no longer their mirror. You are no longer the reservoir for their emptiness. You are your own source now, your own home, your own goddamn muse. You move different. You speak slower. You see everything. You have nothing to prove, nothing to chase, nothing to lose that would cost you your inner peace. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you gorgeous. Not the way you look, the way you live, Not the way you shine, the way you glow without noise. Not the way you speak, the way you no longer need to explain. And maybe they'll never say it out loud. Maybe they'll never admit what you've become, but you don't need their words. You can feel it in the tension when you walk in the room. You can see it in their eyes, the awe mixed with fear. You can sense it in their hesitation, their envy, their confusion. And all you'll do is smile, not out of arrogance, but because you know what they don't. You built this. You paid for this version of yourself with every ounce of your old life. So walk tall. Walk like they can't touch you, because they can't. Walk like your ancestors are behind you, because they are. Walk like your past self is cheering for you, because she is. Walk like the earth itself bends under your feet, because you're finally walking in truth, in power, in... Hello, my delightful alpha audience. You revealed their true intentions. Now they're in panic mode. Do you feel the tremor in the air? That sense that something big is about to break loose, when the walls are no longer silent and the truth shatters their carefully constructed facades. The moment when everything they hid in the darkness is exposed to the blinding light of your clarity. Their hearts race, their palms sweat, and their minds scramble to cover the tracks they thought were buried. But it's too late. The veil has been torn apart. Their true intentions are no longer a mystery, and you were the one who tore it all down. You were the one who broke through their lies with nothing but your sharp instincts and unwavering focus. Let me tell you something, my alphas. You did something many people fear. You saw beyond the surface, beyond the masks they wore. You didn't let their sweet words or their superficial charm fool you. You looked into the heart of the matter, dissected their motives, and in one single strike, you revealed their true intentions. And now, in the wake of that revelation, they're not the same anymore. They're not the confident, self-assured people they were before. Now, they're on the edge, shaken, desperate, panicking, because you, yes you, have exposed them for who they truly are. Imagine that feeling of power, control, and dominance. You hold the truth. You hold the weapon. You now know their weaknesses and their fears. You know what makes them tick, what drives them, what holds them up in front of you, and what lies behind the mask they've carefully cultivated. Their smile, once so inviting, now feels like a mere shell of deception. Their words, once flowing smoothly, now sound like an act. And the best part? You've done what they feared the most. You've broken their game, and now they're left scrambling for a response. The world, my alphas, is full of players. People who play games, manipulate situations, and act in their own self-interest. They hide their real intentions beneath a cloak of kindness or ambition, or trust. They tell you what you want to hear. They offer you their loyalty, their friendship, their companionship. They create bonds and connections, but all of it is a facade. Every move they make, every decision they take, is part of their plan to control you, to use you, to feed off your energy, your trust, and your goodwill. But you, oh you are different. You saw through their tactics. You didn't let their charm blind you. You didn't fall into their trap. You recognized the game they were playing, and you called it out for what it was. And now they are in panic mode. They're no longer sure of their position. They no longer have the upper hand. Their ability to control the narrative, to manipulate the situation, is slipping away. You've created a crack in their armor. That crack, it's widening by the second. With every breath they take, with every action they try to take, to cover up their true selves, they realize that they can't put the pieces back together. The truth has a way of lingering. It never really leaves. You've exposed them for who they are, and no matter how hard they try to patch things up, they can never return to the pristine, calculated version of themselves they once were. You see, this is the power of truth. Truth is unshakable. It stands tall and proud while everything else crumbles around it. They might try to play it cool, to act as if nothing's wrong, but deep down inside, they know. They know they've been caught. They know that once the truth is revealed, their entire world shifts. All those small lies they fed you, all those little manipulations they thought would go unnoticed, are now like giant shadows hanging over them. Their reputation is tarnished, their actions are exposed, and you, my alpha, are the one who did it. The panic, the fear, it's not just because of what they lost in the moment. It's because they know they've lost something far more valuable. They've lost their power. Power isn't just about control over others. It's about perception. It's about how others view you, how they trust you, how they rely on you. And once that trust is broken, once the perception shifts, you become vulnerable. And vulnerability, my alpha, is the most terrifying thing anyone can experience when they've lived their life hiding behind lies and manipulation. Vulnerability leaves them exposed. They are no longer the puppet masters. Now, they are the puppets, dancing to the rhythm you dictate. But don't get too comfortable. This is where the real challenge begins. You've revealed their true intentions. Yes, you've exposed them for the frauds they are. But the fight is far from over. They will try to fight back. They will try to regain control, to turn the tables, to restore their position. You've given them a blow, but don't be surprised if they come back swinging. This is where your true power lies, in your ability to hold your ground, to stand firm in the face of their panic and chaos, to watch as they scramble, knowing they can't recover. You are the master of your own destiny. You've shown them who you are. You've shown them that you are not someone who can be manipulated or controlled. You are someone who sees through their schemes and calls them out. And that is a terrifying thing for people who have lived their lives hiding behind masks. That is the power you possess. The power of awareness, the power of clarity, the power to reveal the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Now, the real test is not whether they panic or try to strike back. The real test is how you handle the aftermath. The real test is how you stand tall, unshaken, in the wake of their storm. The real test is how you continue forward, knowing you've already won. You've shown them that they cannot control you. You've shown them that you will not be swayed by their tricks and deceptions. You've shown them that you are not someone who will fall for their games. And that, my alpha, is the most dangerous thing you can be to someone who thrives on manipulation. You are now the one who holds the upper hand. You are now the one who controls the narrative. And while they're in panic mode, trying to regain control, you're already steps ahead, planning your next move. They're panicking because they know they've been exposed. And when people are exposed, they lash out. They'll try to deflect, they'll try to distract, they'll try to make you question your own motives, but you know better. You've seen their true intentions. You've exposed their game, and now you're the one who decides how this story unfolds. So, my alpha, take a moment to savor this. Savor the feeling of power, the feeling of clarity, the feeling of dominance that comes with revealing the truth. But remember, this is just the beginning. The game is still on, and the world is watching. How will you handle it? Will you allow them to regain control, or will you press on, knowing you've already won the most important battle? This is your moment. They're in panic mode because of you. Don't let that moment slip away. Harness it. Use it to propel yourself forward. And remember, the truth has already won. Now it's time to let your actions speak louder than words. It's easy to speak of power and strength in the moment of truth, but true power, real authority, is defined by what you do once the truth is out. It's about how you carry yourself when the tables have turned, when the mask has been ripped away, and you're standing there, not in a place of ego, but in a place of reality. The truth doesn't need embellishment. It doesn't need your help. Truth stands on its own. And when you have exposed the lies that others use to deceive, now it's your turn to act in a way that aligns with the truth you have revealed, to act with purpose, with clarity, and with unwavering confidence. Because once the truth has been revealed, the only thing that remains is the authenticity of your actions. There's no room for empty promises. There's no place for false gestures. Only real movement, only real purpose, only the action that matches the weight of the truth you've set free. Do you understand this? Do you see how, at this moment, everything is within your grasp? You've already won the intellectual battle, but the emotional and practical battle is just beginning. This is the test of your character, of your resolve. How do you move forward from here? How do you take this knowledge, this victory, and use it not only to defeat your enemies, but to elevate yourself beyond the game they were playing? There is a path forward, a path that requires more than just a moment of victory. It requires strategy, consistency, and the patience to see the long game. When you expose others for their dishonesty, for their manipulations, they react in ways you might not expect. They won't just fall into despair. Many will fight back. Many will try to regain the upper hand by creating chaos, by shifting the narrative, by making you question your own power. But this is where you come in. This is where your ability to remain calm, to maintain control, is put to the ultimate test. Because true strength is not found in a single burst of power. It's found in your ability to endure, to remain unwavering when the storm clouds gather. It's in your ability to walk through the fire and come out unscathed. It's in your understanding that while they panic, while they try to reconstruct their world, you are above all of it. They're drowning in the very chaos they created. And you're watching from the sidelines with an air of quiet confidence. You know what comes next. You know how this plays out. Because now, the real game begins. When they're in panic mode, scrambling for anything they can hold on to, they become desperate. Desperation, my alpha, is the perfect breeding ground for mistakes. And it's in their mistakes that you will find your greatest opportunities. Every action they take now is a sign of weakness. They can no longer act with the same calculated precision they once did. They're making rash moves, trying to fix what cannot be fixed. Their foundation is cracked, their armor is shattered, and they are floundering to regain some semblance of control. You, however, are no longer operating on the same level. You've transcended their games. You've moved beyond the need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need validation from those who play in the shadows. You have revealed the darkness for what it is, and now it's time for you to rise into the light. It's easy to be reactive, to respond in kind when someone attacks you, when they try to manipulate or control you. It's easy to meet their chaos with chaos, but that's not what will elevate you. What will elevate you is when you step back, take a deep breath, and make decisions from a place of power, not emotion. The ones who act from fear, from anger, from panic, they are the ones who are still caught in the game. They are still slaves to the very forces that made them panic in the first place. You, my alpha, are beyond that. You don't need to react to their frantic energy. You can be the calm in the storm, the clarity in the chaos. And when you act, you do so with purpose. Every decision you make now is not a reaction. It's an execution of the long-term vision you've been crafting all along. The difference between you and those who are flailing about in panic mode is that you have already considered what comes next. You have already thought ahead. You are not trapped in the present moment, overwhelmed by what they are doing or what they are saying. No, you are thinking about the future. You are thinking about how to maneuver through this, how to use the confusion they're creating to your advantage. You see, when people panic, they lose sight of the bigger picture. They become short-sighted. They make rash decisions. They burn bridges. They alienate allies. And while they're tearing down everything around them in their attempt to regain control, you have already built your next step. You have already positioned yourself to move forward, to rise above the wreckage they've created. Your actions will speak louder than anything they say now. They will make noise. They will try to deflect, to point fingers, to place blame elsewhere. But your actions, those will be the ultimate truth. What you do now will define your legacy. How many times have we seen it, my alpha? How many times have we witnessed those in power, those who seem untouchable, crumble under the weight of their own panic when their carefully constructed lies are exposed? They can scream and shout. They can try to deflect and create confusion. But in the end, it's the ones who remain calm, the ones who keep moving forward with purpose, who emerge victorious. Your silence, your composed demeanor, is more powerful than any argument or defense they could put up. They will try to drown you out with their noise. They will try to make you feel uncertain. But remember, this is not the time to explain yourself. This is the time to act. This is the time to keep your eyes on the prize, to keep your focus on the goals you've set, and to take every step with precision. The truth has been revealed, and the panic they're feeling is their own consequence. But now, your focus must shift to your next move. You don't want to get caught in their confusion. You don't want to get bogged down by their attempts to create doubt. What matters now is the forward momentum. What matters now is what you choose to do with the knowledge, with the power you've gained. And the beauty of this situation is that you are in control. The panic they feel is not your burden to bear. It's their own mess, their own downfall. You simply have to watch it unfold, and as you do, you take your own calculated steps toward the future you've been working toward all along. So, my alpha, let them scramble. Let them fight among themselves. Let them try to patch up the holes in their broken lives. You don't need to engage in their chaos. You don't need to lower yourself to their level. You have something they don't have: clarity. You have something they've lost: control. And as they panic, as they flail around, you remain steady. You remain focused. You remain in control of your own destiny. And when the dust settles, when they've exhausted themselves in their attempts to regain what they've lost, you will be standing there, stronger, wiser, and ready to claim what is rightfully yours. So, what will you do now, my alpha? Will you chase after their fleeting chaos, or will you remain poised, silent, and deadly in your pursuit of victory? The choice is yours. But remember, true power is not just in exposing the truth. It's in using that truth to build something greater. It's in letting your actions speak louder than words, and making sure that when the dust settles, you are the one standing tall, victorious, and unstoppable. This is your moment. Make it count. You've spent so long preparing for this, haven't you? The moments of doubt, the times you questioned your own strength, the battles you fought in silence, all those times you stayed up late planning, scheming, envisioning how things would unfold. This is the moment where everything converges. This is when you take all that energy, all that preparation, and you turn it into something unstoppable. This is when you finally take the reins of your own destiny and shape it into the future you've always envisioned. Do you feel it? The power that courses through you now that you've seen behind the curtains. The feeling that you are no longer in the shadows, but standing in the light of truth, of clarity. You've exposed them for who they really are. You've peeled back the layers of deception and manipulation, and now the tables have turned. The ones who once held the power, who once controlled the narrative, are scrambling. They're on the back foot. They're in damage control. And you? You stand here unshaken, unmoved, and absolutely unrelenting in your pursuit of victory. This moment, right now, is a culmination of everything you've done. The years of self-discipline, the moments of sacrifice, the times when you chose not to back down, not to bend to the whims of others. This is the ultimate test of your resilience. You've revealed their true intentions, their hidden agendas, their carefully constructed lies, and now it's time for you to reap the rewards. But remember this, my alpha, this is not the end. This is just the beginning. In this very moment, the world is watching. The people who underestimated you, the ones who thought they could walk over you, the ones who thought you would remain docile, unnoticed, and insignificant. All of them are looking at you now, and they're terrified, because they've seen something in you that they didn't see before. They've witnessed your strength, your clarity, your ability to see through their games. They know they can't stop you. They can only watch as you rise, as you take what is rightfully yours. You've changed the game, and now you control the rules. But here's where the game really begins. You've seen them panic. You've seen them flail in desperation, trying to put out the fire you've started. But now you must remain focused. You cannot afford to be distracted by their noise, their chaos. You cannot afford to get lost in the web of lies and confusion they are trying to spin around. They want to pull you into their world, into their disorder. They want you to lose your way, to doubt yourself, to let your emotions take control. But that's the exact moment you have to show them what you're really made of. You've already won the intellectual battle. You've exposed their true faces. You've cracked their armor wide open, and now they are on the defensive. But that victory was just the beginning. It is what happens next that will truly define you. This is where you take that raw power, that truth, and you channel it into action. Because when you let your actions speak louder than words, you are no longer just reacting. You are controlling the narrative. You are no longer just a participant in their game. You are the one who sets the rules. Think about it. The world around you is full of distractions. The noise is everywhere. People talking, gossiping, trying to bring you down, trying to make you question yourself. But you, my alpha, are above all of that. You are the calm in the storm. While others are being swept up in the chaos, you are the one who sees the big picture. You are the one who has the clarity to stay focused on what really matters. The next step in your journey. Every single move you make now must be deliberate, calculated, and precise. You've already done the hard work of exposing them. Now, it's time to build. It's time to create. It's time to make the most of this opportunity. The world is now your canvas, and you are the artist. What will you create? Will you let this moment slip by? Or will you seize it and transform it into something greater? Remember, when they're in panic mode, they are no longer thinking clearly. Their decisions are driven by fear, and fear is a powerful motivator, but also a destructive one. They will lash out. They will try to manipulate the narrative. They will try to confuse you, to make you second guess yourself. But your strength lies in your ability to remain grounded, to trust in your vision, and to move forward with unshakable confidence. Fear will drive them to make mistakes, and in their mistakes, you will find your opportunity. Now you might think this is just about taking advantage of their panic, and to some extent, it is. But it's more than that. It's about positioning yourself to thrive in a world that is always changing, always shifting. You've already seen the cracks in their armor. Now, you need to position yourself to walk through those cracks and take what you deserve. This is the part where most people fail. They get caught up in the immediate chaos. They get swept away by the drama, the confusion, the urgency of the moment. They let the distractions drown out their purpose. But not you. You are focused, you are driven, and you know that success isn't just about reacting to what's happening in front of you. It's about being prepared for what's coming next. This moment isn't just about the present, it's about the future. You've revealed their true intentions, yes, but what you do next will define your legacy. It will define who you are, what you stand for, and what you're capable of. This is your time to shine, to show the world that you are more than just someone who exposes the truth. You are the one who shapes the future. You are the one who rises above the chaos and creates something real, something lasting. You are the one who will not be distracted by the noise, but who will keep your eyes on the prize, no matter what. The game is not over. It has just begun. And this is where you will separate yourself from the rest. You've shown them your power. Now, it's time to show them your grace, your resilience, your vision, because true power is not just in knowing the truth. It's in using that truth to propel yourself forward, to build, to create, to dominate. It's about rising to the occasion, not just in the moment of victory, but in the aftermath, when everyone else is lost, unsure, and desperate. This is where you shine. This is where you leave your mark on the world. So, my alpha, what will you do now? Will you let this moment pass by? Or will you take full advantage of the power you've unlocked? Will you sit back and watch as they flounder? Or will you rise up and show them that this was just the beginning of something far greater? This is your time. The world is waiting for you to make your move. The question is, what will you do with the power you've uncovered? How will you use it to shape your destiny? Your actions from this moment on will speak louder than any words could. They will define who you are and what you stand for. This is your moment, my alpha. Make it count. In the end, this is your moment to define your legacy. You've exposed the truth, shattered their facades, and now it's time to move forward with relentless confidence. The world is watching, and they are in panic mode. But you are calm, focused, and driven. Your actions will speak louder than anything they say or do. So rise above the chaos. Keep your eyes on the future and take this opportunity to shape your destiny. This is your time. Make it count.